Welcome to Business Connect, a podcast produced and presented by the City of Miramar in the great state of Florida, the gateway to the Caribbean and Latin America. This podcast airs every third Thursday in the month at 7 p.m. and brings you information, tips, and ideas from experts to take your business to the next level. We also get to hear from folks who have done it all and can share insights with you. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome your host, Johnny Douglas.
Welcome to the City of Miramar's Business Connect, where we connect your business to what's important. My name is Johnny Douglas, and I'm your host for this episode. Most cases, we have businesses who have challenges when it comes to their payroll. Payroll can be hectic, it can be challenging for them as they try to connect all the dots with their employees. Well, we may have a solution for you today. Our guest today on our panel, we have Mr. Mike Ross. How are you today, Mr.
Good, sir. How are you? Thank you for having me, Johnny.
I'm glad you are here today. Today, I spoke a little bit about payroll and some of the important, but it is very important and it's vital to our society how employees get paid.
Sure.
But the most important thing is making sure that those payments are correct and accurate. Right?
I would agree. I think that a lot of businesses maybe underestimate how important it is to keep that employee happy, right? So statistics will tell you that you only got one shot at it. So if you underpay them or don't pay them or mispaying them, they're going to leave. They don't see kindly to that, right? So they get concerned about, well, how good of a company are you if you can't pay that, pay my salary, right? And so it's important that that's one I would say, don't miss payroll. That's too vital. We'll figure out the tax part, right? But don't miss the actual pay of the employee.
Now, you're with Heartland Payroll. Give us an overview of your company. I know you guys have been in this for a while.
Yeah, we have. So we're the third largest publicly traded payroll company in the United States. We have been around since 1997. We're owned by Global Payments, which is a credit card processing company. So we're a Fortune 500 company. I think something that's unique about us is everyone works for Heartland in the United States. We're all W-2 employees. We don't outsource anything. And we focus on specifically small and medium businesses. So our focus is really that 1 to 500. And I would say for the most part, most of our small businesses in the United States are under that 150 number, right? And they just don't get a lot of attention from some of the other folks out there. So we made it a focus to really target them, to give them that extra customer service they weren't getting.
Mr. Ross, that was very important you just said that, because a lot of small businesses don't feel that they need or they can use a service like payroll, or maybe it may not be affordable for them to do that. How does your company address those issues?
So, a big deal for us is having the opportunity to meet you where you are, right? So you could be a one-person monthly payroll that just doesn't need a lot, but you obviously need to have the basics handled. The payments go from the business account to the personal account, the taxes paid. And so we have a very affordable option for that. All the way up to the complex, where you start adding things like time and attendance and applicant tracking, electronic onboarding, and all the bells and whistles that run a more sophisticated company. What we try to do from a technology standpoint is make technology first with a human touch. And then we actually don't have offices all over the place. We have a few offices around the country, and everyone else works from home to try to keep those overhead costs down, to be able to pass that savings on to our customers, so that we're a more affordable option, but with a better customer value set.
Okay. Wow. Okay. So in your line of work through your company, what are some of the biggest challenges that you find businesses running to when it comes to their payroll, as far as attendance and onboarding? How does that look? How does that work?
Sure. So I think that we could address each of those separately, right? Okay. Like the first thing I would say is just retention today. Trying to just hire new folks becomes challenging in the fact that there's so many people that just don't want to work. We have a lot of people that would literally show up for an interview and then not come to the job, or literally do all the paperwork and then never show up on day one. It's crazy the time we're in today that happens. So some of the things that we talk about are how do you streamline that process to weed out the folks that just really don't want to work, but they're just going through these motions for other reasons. So we talk about how if you're using Indeed and Monster and LinkedIn and Job Target, there's tons of services out there to do it. We actually provide a product that just aggregates all of it, right? We're not telling you not to use those products, you should be in them. But we have a way where we can actually have you just do everything once, so save you a lot of time and energy, and then have it put everywhere, right? And then also, through that same tool, allow you the opportunity to add it to your social media, put it on your website, create links where they're going to be able to apply it from anywhere you tell them to go. And then once in the system, you actually can manage them through maybe certain multiple choice questions or written responses that you're looking for to try to get the right type of client.
You know what I'm hearing here, it's almost a hand in glove type situation upon the right hiring, and then the pay will come out on the other end.
Yeah, absolutely.
Better. So I'm seeing that there's a combination of both here.
Yeah, and imagine you're actually bringing that person on board. They fill out the application electronically now instead of coming into your office and doing it paper. Right now, maybe they do show up to your store, but instead of handing them a paper application, you actually turn around and say, here, scan this QR code, go ahead, or text this to apply. And then it brings it into the system, allowing you to streamline that entire process. Now you decide to hire the individual. Well, now maybe you don't even use the applicant tracking. You knew you needed to hire them. Either way, you're going to use the electronic onboarding piece of it, where you're going to actually take away hours of manual labor while they're there the first day and collect everything ahead of time. Their I-9s, their W-4s. They're going to be able to take pictures of their social securities, their driver's license straight from their phone and bring everything in. And a lot of payroll companies use that. It doesn't have to be Heartland, by the way. I'd love for it to be Heartland, but there's a lot of good payroll companies out there. If that's the case, just make sure you're using the tools.
It's one of the things that I'm learning so much by having this conversation with you. So I appreciate you being here. One of the things I'm learning is that payroll services are more than just the paycheck. Are more
the
than
paycheck
just
is almost the
taxes.
easiest part, right?
Right. I'm thinking here now because it's almost like you have a one pony show that you can do it all from hiring. Is that what you guys do from the hiring
we like
process
to say hire to retire.
High retire. Oh my goodness! Wow.
Right.
Okay, so that's pretty good.
Yeah.
So when a company, big or small, your medium-sized company, sign with you, and they're your customer, you have all of these platforms that they can go.
So it's really a one platform system, right? We just toggle things on and off to make it affordable for them. Again, some people are larger; they need to have some of the services like Affordable Care Act, and they gotta file their 1094s and 1095s. We'll help with that. We'll actually do the process with them and then even mail those out to the employees for them, right? So while others don't need that, right? They're smaller, they're under 50. But now in Florida, we have a new law that basically says if you're over 25 employees, you must use E-Verify. We have E-Verify built into our platform, so it's very easy for them to not only just do the I-9 process, but actually take it the next step and go ahead and validate the E-Verify right in our system. And that doesn't cost extra, right? You can do that on your own through the state's platform, but why take the extra step if we can just feed it right through it?
Right.
So again, technology taking pieces away that you're doing manually and creating more time for you. By the way, I think you'll agree with this. The business owner is the number one resource, but they also are the ones that cost the most to use, right? So a business owner could say, hey, my time is worth X, 500, 1,000, whatever that number is, right? And if they're doing those mundane tasks because they're a small business, they don't have people to do all these, you're touching every widget and cog.
Exactly.
And so the more that you can take off your plate to go do what you're really good at, the better.
So in other words, I have two things because you're getting my mind jarring now. One thing I'd like to go back to, how far and deep do you guys go into, because you touched a little bit on HR issues.
Sure.
So how deep do you go into HR issues?
So it depending on the product and what they're looking for, we have everything all the way from a very basic. Now, by the way, you mentioned HR. I haven't actually yet. So some of these things we're talking about, they're HR related.
Right.
But to us, it's basic payroll. We just think these things are so important for our customers to have access to. And a lot of folks are like, I can't afford that. No, you can't not afford it. So we wanted to make sure that some of those things, like our system will tell you like date of births, anniversaries of employees of employment, bank holidays. That's so simple, right? But it's a tool on the retention side to be able to say happy birthday to that employee or to recognize them for being there for 5 years and doing something special for them. It goes a long way for the employee to look at the employer and go, they care about me.
Right.
So those kind of tools that are HR tools, those are things that we just have built in on the very basic side. But to your point about HR, we have opportunities that as they grow, we'll grow with them. So our first step is going to be, we have an HR platform where they're able to log in and review different laws, state and federal, and just kind of read through. And we have, I don't know, probably 70 pages of like 2-minute how-tos on different HR topics, sexual harassment, et cetera. To the next step where we actually have a team on our H&R on demand that they can help them write handbooks, do job descriptions, help with performance reviews. And by the way, in our HRIS system, which is the system they're using to run payroll, we also will add in there the opportunity for them to house any kind of those performance reviews or house any kind of incident reports and things like that to manage that employee in the system itself, all the way to a more proactive solution, which would be what we call HR Complete. And that's where you don't have an HR team in place, but you have somebody that kind of does the job.
Right.
We come in on a proactive space and say, hey, every month we're going to meet with you and we're going to help build out your HR department. And we'll do that proactively instead of reactively.
Wow. I like that so much because what you're doing is you're streamlining businesses, how they operate their business and how they see their employees and how their employees connect with them, which is very important. When you talk about evaluations, that is very, very key to an employer and employees, how that works. But if you have a mechanism that is streamlining.
If I could give any kind of advice to the employees, to the employers out there that don't like to do the performance reviews, it's such a pain in the butt, I don't like that. Here's the deal. You want to hear from your employee. It's not really about you telling them how good or bad they're doing. That's a huge part of it. You want to be able to talk to the employee and say, hey, listen, here's what you do great. Here's some stuff that we want you to work on, and here's some other stuff that you do great. Like I like to call it the sandwich. You give them the good, the bad, and the good. But in that opportunity, you ask for their advice on what we could do better to make you a better place to work. Right. There are so many quiet quitters in the world we have today. You're not going to get away from that if they don't want to be there or if they're not happy. So that gives you the opportunity to actually dig in and understand where they're coming from. Maybe it's as simple as stop charging them $5 for a soda and put in a free machine or put them in a refrigerator. I know it sounds silly, but so many places I go to, they don't have any kind of frills for their employees. They make it feel like I don't want to be there. Don't make it, they're going to be there just as much as they're at home.
Right.
So make them want to be there. And then finally, don't just do it once a year. Some people don't do it at all. Try to do it at least semi-annually. I mean, I tell people if you can do it quarterly, which is hard, do it quarterly because you're just creating that much rapport and not waiting so long to tell somebody they're not doing a good job, right? Giving them an opportunity. Why wait for an incident when you could nip it in the bud ahead of time?
Okay, I'm fascinated because your company seems to be very, very broad in what you do, but also open to the realities of employer and employee communications and how they respond to each other. One question I have for you, another question I have for you is, when it comes to your smaller businesses, one of their biggest challenges and their fears is cost. Now, what you said earlier brought this question for me even more so. You said that your company do most of the work for them. For me, it's better. I want to know if it's better to hire an on-staff person to do what you do, as far as financially, or to have you do it. Because
I understand where you're coming from, right? So what I would tell you is, we are a software solution with a human touch. I mentioned that, right?
Right.
What that means is that there's a lot of payroll companies out there that just provide you the software and say, good luck with you. We don't do that. So we're going to give you a dedicated team of people to work with. You're going to have, and by the way, we don't have sales folks in our organization. What makes us different is we actually own our book of business that we're out there. So if someone's working with me specifically, that's my account, that's my client. They have my phone number. They're gonna, if it's a 911 emergency, they're gonna call me. If they get a tax notice and they don't know what to do, stop wasting your time trying to figure it out. That's what we're here for. Just give us a call. But to the point of hiring somebody, as you grow, you might need to find that you have a lot of financial tasks. Maybe you're looking at a type of CFO kind of position. There's opportunities out there before you go full-time. We have relationships with partners, I think you know as well, that we can bring in like a part-time CFO to kind of do that while you grow. Look, eventually you might get there, but that CFO, you don't need them typing in how many hours a week Johnny is working or Mandy Beth is working, right? You're looking for the software. And by the way, you mentioned time and attendance. Well, we should tackle that. That's another big feature of what payroll companies can provide is that tool. when you look at your cost of business and what you do, if you have employees, so some businesses don't, right? But for those that have employees, it's typically their most expensive asset. And the time, and by the way, I don't think good people do things like this on purpose, but the reality is when you don't have anything in place and you're just saying, oh, tell me when you come into work. If I get in at 9:10 every day, but I was supposed to be there at 8:30, you just look by it, but that's 40 minutes that you paid me that I didn't do anything.
Right.
Now, that's egregious, right? But what if it's just 5 minutes here and 5 minutes there? That doesn't sound like a lot. But maybe you have 50 employees that are doing that. Maybe you're paying salaries, but everyone's supposed to take a 30-minute lunch, but they always take 45 minutes to an hour. How are you even addressing those from an HR perspective if you're not actually keeping track of it? And so that asset, by having a time and attendance solution in place, will keep good people from doing dumb and bad things and allow them the opportunity to really see where they're at. Now, again, on an hourly situation, you're not giving away money for free, right? So like, hey, if Mindy Beth is coming in and having coffee before she even goes to work, well, why am I paying you to have coffee before you got here, right? I shouldn't have to pay you for Starbucks time. And then on the other hand, if you have a salaried employee that's probably a higher level, if you will, but is spending 2 hours at lunch every day, well, now you're keeping track of that. They're going to say, hey, I probably shouldn't do that. Or if they're doing it and they need to, then maybe it's a conversation with that employee saying, hey, what's up with this and why is it happening? How can I help? Because something seems off here. I don't want you away from the business for 2 hours a day. What are you doing? Is there something that you're doing for us I should know about? And maybe I need to help streamline it so we get you back in the office quicker.
Taxes.
Yeah.
Most business owners cringe when it comes to doing taxes. How does your company address that issue?
So we're an end-to-end payroll company. We handle it all, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to take the gross wages out of your business bank account. We're going to go ahead and take this tax portion for both you, the employer, and the employees, and make those tax payments to whatever state it represents.
Right.
We work in all 50 states, by the way.
Okay.
And then we're going to put the net amount into wherever you tell us, right? It could be one checking account. It could be split over a savings and a checking and someone else's checking account. We can divvy that up 6 or 7 ways if you want. But we handle all of that. And then at the end of every month and quarter, we're going to file the appropriate taxes and make the payments that are if they haven't already been made.
Awesome. And I like the fact that your company does that because it keeps checks and balances for a small business. One of the things that small businesses run into problems with is when they have someone doing their taxes for them and they're missing things and things are missing and things are not reported accurately.
Right.
It's not the business owner's fault because he's entrusting someone that he or she figures are doing the right thing.
Right.
So how do you make sure that your business owners know that this is what we're doing, this is how this happens, this is the report we have for you, review it, let us know how.
So we won't even go to the look at it over part. Like, well, we do everything for you, and what we'll tell you is specifically if you're with us and we're supposed to do X, Y, and Z, if something comes back from the government says we didn't do it in a timely manner, whatever that could look like, we're eating those penalties and interest. We're making those payments. We're taking the responsibility of doing it for you off of your plate and on ours. So we're going to take the responsibility of making sure it gets done right. And if it isn't, nobody's perfect in the world. We like to say we're really good. But if there is a mistake made or something happened that didn't happen in the timely manner it should have, we'll take on the responsibility and pay that fee. Wow. Now, I think that it's important you talk about those fees for a second. There's so many small business owners that have 2 or 3 or 4 employees that feel like it's just okay to do it on their own. It's easy enough. They say that, but they're also holding a bunch of hats on, right? They're wearing all these different hats and they're doing all these things. All I have to do is mess up once. Maybe they didn't make that payment timely enough, right? So there's rules in place that says if you pay over a certain amount of money of salary or hourly dollars in a certain time frame, you have to make the payments in a certain time frame. Some are like so small you can wait a month to pay. Others you have to pay within every other week. Others you have to pay every 3rd day. So if you get paid, you have 3 days for that employee's money to go back to the government. Those are all fast-moving pieces.
Right.
Do you really know business owners that are spending every 3rd day of? No, they're not doing that. They're floating that money, and if they get caught, there's fines for that, right? There's complexity to paying taxes. There was a statistic that said over 45% of people that do it all on their own find themselves in a situation with taxes within 3 years. and usually that fine is anywhere from $845 to $2,500. And do you really want to pay those kind of fines when you can outsource it so affordably? I mean, honestly, like I hate it's not about price for us. We believe there's a value set to it. So when I say this tongue in cheek, but like you can get payroll done by a payroll company professionally for as little as $50 a month. Oh, wow. So why would you try to do all that on your own? And I say that I brought up the business owner cost point, right? So I met with the business owner here in Miramar just a few months ago, and they were doing it on their own. And I said, well, how much do you charge an hour for your services? And he, well, $230. I go, how long does it take you to run payroll every week? It doesn't take long at all. It's only 15 to 30 minutes. Okay. I said, oh, okay, so you do it every week. Yeah. So that's 2 hours a week. Right. That's $560 you're paying for payroll. Why not pay me $100 and let me do everything for you? You know what I mean? So, and again, I'm throwing random numbers out, but the reality is so many people don't take that at heart and say, you know, how much more valuable is my time doing what I do that I could bring money in versus doing something I'm not an expert at?
Right. And that's exactly what I was thinking when you said that. Where do you put the value? Are you putting the value on the dollar, or are you putting the value on the time that's keeping from making the extra dollar?
That's right.
You know, so I think,
and correctly, right? Making sure you said it, crossing T's and dotting I's.
Yes.
And we're really good at payroll. That's what we do, right? I will never be really good at building pools.
That's not what you do.
That's not what I do. But if you're a pool guy building pools and you're trying to run payroll, is that right? I mean, maybe you're doing okay right now, but when you make that mistake, you're going to wish that you had a payroll company out there that had your back.
If I were a business owner, I'd rather start off on the right foot, making sure I have everything in place. So on the back end, when I'm ready to retire, when I'm ready to, you know, say, hey, I'm done, I don't have anything coming at me later on in life saying, hey, well, you know, we're IRS, we're saying this is what you didn't do, this is what you should have done, and now we need that now.
And and so the last thing with time and attendance, right? A lot of places, again, small businesses, they can't afford to bring someone on for 40 hours. They have to manage these schedules and timing. So how are you doing that? Like, are you literally still writing on a piece of paper? Are you building a spreadsheet and posting it on the wall? Or are you looking for the 21st century to step in for, I don't know, $20 a month, something really inexpensive? There's tons of opportunity out there that's going to do the scheduling feature for you. And then your employee has an app on their phone and they can see a notification of when they're going to work that week and when they need to be there, right? So all those little pieces, they add up. That technology makes a difference. And so many of our younger generation are driven by the technology. So you need to meet them where they are if you want to have a good employee.
Good. It's a lot of good information that I'm getting here, and I'm hoping that most of our listeners are getting the same information, because it is vital for businesses if they want to succeed and grow their financial base. You know,
growing financial base. Let's talk about that for a second, right? So you're actively hiring folks right now, and you're a small business and you're looking to hire someone, and now you're using the tools, right? You're using an applicant tracking system, an onboarding system, and one of the other things that you could be doing while that's happening is potentially looking for that candidate that you hire that's going to offer you, the business, a tax credit. So the government pays you, for those that don't know, the government pays you anywhere from $2,400 to $9,600 if you hire certain kind of individuals, right? So that could be someone that hasn't had a job in 27 weeks. That could be someone that's on part of a food stamps or SNAP program. That could be someone that is a felon. It could be a veteran. And they all have different reasons why they're on different government programs. And the government's like, hey, if you would just bring this person in to work for you and help get them off the program because we want to see them succeed, then we'll pay you a tax credit for doing so. And it's a 100% tax credit. So most payroll companies should help you do that. I know that we at Heartland do that. And we charge a very nominal fee. A lot of people charge percentages. We don't do that. We believe just to cover the cost of the paperwork. But again, to be able to go out there, if you're actively hiring and you hire a veteran with a DD 214 and you end up with a $9,600 tax credit, then did you pay for payroll?
Wow. You know, I love that feature, because I worked at a previous job where there was a young man who was incarcerated and came out, and this company hired him, and it was for the tax credit. But
could have been one of the best employees they ever had.
Actually, he was. Right now, he's one of the managers at the company, and I'm thinking like, wow, what a difference that make. in someone's life, yes, you're getting a tax credit, but also you're changing someone's life.
Yeah, how great is it to give someone that second chance,
That second chance, right.
help them rehabilitate and get back into society
Right.
On the right foot, right? And so we want to help those folks.
Right.
And I think that the government realizes that maybe you'll be more open to do it if I pay you a little bit for that success to do it. So it's a one-time credit, but again, that credit's unique. The government's been doing it for over 25 years, but the way they set that credit up is, and this is good for businesses that have only been around for a couple years, this is good to hear, because as you start to grow really fast, maybe you owed, let's say, $25,000 the first year. And then the second year, you ended up hiring so many veterans, let's pretend you hired 10 of them, and you had $96,000 in credits. But this year, the one you're filing the taxes for now, well, you only have $50,000 that you could get. Well, okay, you get all that, so you don't have to pay the 50. And then they redo the last tax return to cover the 30. And then, oh, by the way, there's still about 16 left. Well, then you could add that to the year in front of it, right? So you can go backwards 1 year and forwards 20. The government wants to make sure that you get the money.
Wow.
And at Heartland, we like to help you get it.
Right. And those are things that I think when you're a business owner, you write a business plan, you go to the bank, you get the loan, and you're ready to start. I think those are the steps and those are the conversations that need to be had.
Yeah, there's so many of those
with
little
businesses.
They miss it, right?
They miss that, right?
Here's another one: insurance, right? Tying insurance to payroll. So workman's comp insurance. Listen, go with your agent. Your agent's your friend. They're going to know what you need and how you need it. But use the payroll company to connect the dots, right?
Right.
So we're able to connect with all the different the actual carriers themselves, to send the reports and pay in real time. So you're what they call pay as you go.
Right.
When you're ready for that comp and that different piece of the business, because so many times I just need general liability.
Right.
I don't need this. I don't need that.
Right.
You don't realize what you don't need, right? But if you get the right agent in there, and we love working. So here's a big deal for Heartland.
So you're kind of like an escrow for that.
Right. So instead of you having to write the big check up front, we're creating it where it's paid in real time.
Yes.
And the key here is that what Heartland is really good at, what do we talk about? Payroll, right?
Right.
We're a technology company. So I love to meet with brokers because I don't sell insurance. Okay. I don't sell healthcare. But we do integrate with all of those. Okay. Our technology creates the opportunity, like in the healthcare space, through whether it's Employee Navigator, Ease. We even have our own benefit admin platform internally in our system that you can use, so that imagine if an employee is on that app I mentioned, they're actually seeing what their benefits are. Oh, I have dental health and how much I have and what are my deductibles. Imagine if you could get to all of those things tied to your payroll and not separate, or maybe you don't even use technology. We do that, but we don't. What we don't do is we don't sell the product. We work with the broker. You're a healthcare broker. What are you really good at? Healthcare. Don't talk about payroll. That's my job.
Right.
And you sell insurance, and that's awesome. And I like to work with those folks. So I create synergy there just because if you put a bunch of experts in the room, then who wins? The business owner.
Yes.
And the business owner is really the quarterback of his own company, right?
Exactly.
But he needs to have the resources around him. So I always tell a business owner, hey, I know you're the quarterback, but if you put a bunch of us in the room that all know what we're really good at and we all work together, that's going to be your benefit. So a thing I would tell every business owner is, you have an insurance agent, you have someone that maybe you get healthcare from, maybe you already outsource your payroll, and you have a CPA. Do those 4 people know each other? If they don't, make the connection. Get them to talk to each other. How you might find a benefit that you didn't know you could get. What happens if the CPA comes to the insurance carrier and says something to the effect of XYZ would gain you this credit? Or we just talked about WOTC, and I was able to bring to the fact that they just hired 3 new people. We'll take all that paperwork that's needed to get the credit, we hand it to the CPA. Right? So the idea is, if we all are in a room talking about your business, who wins? You, the business owner. So make sure you're connecting those people. It's important.
Wow, that right there is that's news. A lot of people don't do that. I think we sometimes put ourselves in an isolated bubble.
Well, you're buying a product. You're buying a product.
And we think them all separate instead of looking at it being like, okay, let's have a team of people working to help my business grow.
Again, you put a bunch of consultants in a room that are specialized in their thing, and everyone's together working together for your benefit. Your company's going to grow.
Well, Mr. Ross, it has been a pleasure having you with us today.
Thank you.
You have really, really opened my eyes to payroll. It's more than just what I thought it was. I thought it was just you just pay the employees, and that's pretty much the end of it. But you have a fundamental system and technology system that can do it all for a business owner.
Thank you.
We appreciate you being here.
I appreciate it.
Thank you for coming.
Thanks so much.
Follow us, like us on our Facebook page, on our LinkedIn page. Follow our economic development and housing page. You will learn more about what we do and how we impact the economy in a positive way in the city of Miramar. Also, sign up for our newsletter, Miramar, at MiramarFL.gov /Business Pulse. Right there, you'll find out a lot of things that we're doing in the city of Miramar, a lot of events that's coming up, and webinars. Also, the city of Miramar, how do we impact our economic base? We have a program that we're so proud of. It is called Open Rewards, Shop Local. This program works where every time you shop in a Miramar business, you earn 5% cash back on your purchase. How does that work? Go to MiramarFL.gov. Go to our landing page, Economic Development and Housing, and download the app. Go to your store, download the app that says Shop Local, Open Rewards, and then shop. Once you do that, you will get paid back from 5% on what you buy in the city of Miramar. There are Miramar businesses that are participating in this program, and it is really taking off. I get cash back every time I shop Miramar, and I want you to get it too. So, as I always say, have a nice day, have a nice week, but most importantly, stay connected.
Thanks for listening to the Business Connect podcast. Be sure to visit MiramarFL.gov /podcast to join the conversation, access the show notes, and discover our fantastic bonus content. We would love for you to subscribe, rate, and give a review on iTunes. Until next time.